Most people say that they use AI, but how you use it shows you exactly where you are on the learning curve. And after thousands of hours of helping creators, entrepreneurs, and agency, I've realized there are 5 levels to AI mastery, and each one completely changes the game for how you work, for how you think, and how you compete. Now, me and you, we're going to go through these levels 1 to 5, and we're going to break down the thinking pattern behind each and what each pattern needs to then shift into that next gear. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're at level 2 and your competitor is at level 4, you, my friend, are playing a completely different game. I'm Adam Prioletti, the founder of Serenium AI, and I help creators, entrepreneurs, and agencies crack the AI world without the need to be technical. So let's get into it and find your level. Starting with level 1, the curious. So here's what that looks like. Maybe you've tried ChatGPT once or twice. Maybe you've used it to write you a caption, summarize an article. Maybe you've even asked it a random question. You're finding it super interesting, but you're not really sure if it fits into your actual work. So the thinking pattern here is, yeah, this is really cool, but is it really useful to me? So here you are treating AI like a bit of a novelty, something that's a really cool, fun trick that you can show people you've done some stuff with, but you're not really taking it too seriously. And here's what's holding people back at this level 1. They are waiting for AI to prove itself before they commit to it. Like you've just taken someone on a first date, but you're not sure if they're the right one for you. But AI here doesn't prove itself in theory, it proves itself in the practice. So if you're at this level, this is the shift that you're going to need. You need to stop waiting for AI to prove itself. Start thinking about where is the friction in the work that you do already. Because some good news is that AI doesn't actually replace the full job at the moment. It just really helps to remove and reduce that friction that you find. If you spend 20 minutes in the morning sorting through emails, that is the friction. If you stare at a blank page trying to figure out how to start a blog post, that is the friction. If you copy manually from spreadsheet to spreadsheet, that is friction. So that move from level 1 to level 2 is when you can clearly identify some friction and you can use and leverage AI to eliminate it. Not perfectly, just the one. That is all it takes. Curiosity is the thing that gets you started, but then the momentum is what gets you hooked. Level 2, the tool user. So here's what it looks like. You're now using AI regularly, but you're using it for isolated tasks. You're now drafting emails in ChatGPT. You're getting it to write some captions for you. Maybe you're rewriting product descriptions, even dropping in an article to get it to summarize it for you. You're taking copy prompts from TikTok, Reddit. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but you're not sure why. The thinking pattern here is AI is my assistant, but for certain tasks. It's like a tool that you pull out and then put away when you're done. But here's the problem with level 2. You're experiencing prompt roulette. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, without you understanding the underlying logic. And what you'll find is that will lead to some inconsistencies. Sometimes you strike gold, but other times it's absolute trash and you still don't know why. And this is the breakthrough that moves you to level 3. The AI doesn't understand what you ask, it understands how you ask it. And let me show you what I mean. Now, here we have ChatGPT. A level 2 prompt might say something like, write me a LinkedIn post about productivity. So it's going to generally give us something back that we can just copy and paste, use it if you really wanted to, but usually it can sound a little bit inhuman, maybe not your tone of voice, which could obviously be improved. But level 2 prompt is there. Now, let's mix things up with this level 3 prompt that I may have done a little bit earlier, like a Blue Peter special. You're a productivity coach writing for burned out entrepreneurs. Write me a LinkedIn post that acknowledges their overwhelm, then offers one counterintuitive insight about doing less to achieve more. Keep it under 150 words and end it with a question. Thought provoking. And immediately you can see like the difference in context between the two. This is definitely, if I see something like this, I just know, most people know it's quite a ChatGPT type answer. But if we look at something like this, it's definitely more of the more professional LinkedIn goers, shall we say, on the platform. So you may be asking, what is that difference between that level 2 and 3 prompt and why is it different? So here, what you can see, this is probably the average post that the average user will put in. And this is the type of output you get. And this I see a lot over LinkedIn is as soon as I see a post, it's a certain type of structure, immediately I know they've probably just used ChatGPT to write me a post on this. But here, what we actually do, it creates more realism. So we're actually structuring it in a way that the AI understands who it is, what it does, and what it needs to achieve. So here, we've given it a role. You're a productivity coach writing for burnt out entrepreneurs. The goal here is then to write in a LinkedIn post that acknowledges their overwhelm, then offers one counterintuitive insight about doing less to achieve more. Now that specifically gives the AI an insight to the audience that we're targeting. We then have some structure. So obviously we've got here, we acknowledge, we have some insight about it, and then we end with a question. And we've also given it some constraint of under 150 words. I mean, in some cases you can give it a constraint, but it may or may not decide to go under or over. I just want to put that out there. Even just, let's have a look, a quick word count. Did it do it? Word count. 119 words. Fair enough. I'll give it to you. So immediately you can see that's not just a better prompt, but it allows the AI to understand the context of what it's trying to achieve. And that is the shift that you need. Stop collecting prompts, but start understanding prompt architecture. So here's something I'd love you to experiment with. On the next time that you go and use AI, I would love you to ask yourself these 3 questions. What is the role that this AI should play? Who is the audience that I'm looking to speak to? And what is the outcome that I'm looking to achieve? If you can answer those 3 questions in your next prompt that you give the AI, I guarantee you're going to find some better results. So here's a really key insight. Beginners use AI for tasks. Professionals build AI prompt frameworks. Level 3, the integrator. And here's what it looks like. Now you are connecting the dots. Maybe the tools are talking to each other. ChatGPT generates your ideas. Claude then refines them. Notion then stores them. Then Zapier schedules them. Alternatively, maybe a meeting happens, then the transcript is going to be generated, AI summarizes everything, tasks are auto-created by the project manager, and then emails are sent to each individual in the team with their specific roles for that project. The thinking pattern here is going to be, how can I chain these different actions together? You've stopped seeing AI as isolated tools, and now you're chaining them together to see that they're part of a system. Now this is where most people feel like they have figured it out. And to be fair, they kind of have. Level 3 is powerful. Creators you'll find will be doing 10 times more content than other creators, and business owners will be saving so many hours per week. Sometimes here is the trap. Automation without a strategy can sometimes just be quite expensive busyness. I see this happen quite a lot in the space. Someone may say, oh great, I've automated this. As soon as I post to Instagram, it then takes the post, puts it over to Twitter, then it does a Facebook post, and then it takes it over to Pinterest and creates an image, which is all well and good, but are your audience there? And if the answer is silence, I think you got your answer. Sometimes people can automate this distribution without validating whether that distribution is actually even needed. That shift to level 4 happens when you stop asking, can I automate this? And it turns into, should I automate this? So here's the formula that I use before I automate anything. Does this task create value or just motion? Will this workflow still make sense in 3 months? What in the system breaks if this part stops working? If you can't answer those questions clearly, I would suggest don't automate it yet. A key insight here is that integration gives you power, but strategy turns that power into results. Level 4, the strategist. At level 4, AI becomes your thinking partner and not just your execution assistant. You're using it to analyze, model, and make some decisions. For example, maybe a marketer feeds in all the campaign data to Claude and says, analyze my top audience segments and tell me which are the most profitable and why. Maybe a founder models 3 hiring scenarios and asks, what's our cash runway in each? Maybe a YouTuber uploads 6 months worth of analytics and they say, what topics are people watching the longest? The main thinking pattern here is, what should I do and why? You're no longer automating what you already do. You are leveraging AI to understand what you should do. And this is where the real competitive advantage lives. Because most people use AI to work faster on the wrong things. Now, strategists use AI to identify the right things, and then they work faster on those. So here's some real life examples from the marketing agency. We actually use AI super heavily. When we run ads for e-commerce brands, the standard approach is you create videos, you test them and scale what works, and obviously find what works best and then iterate on that. In the world of e-commerce, you have something called ROAS, so return on ad spend. So for every £1 you put in, how much do you get back out? And instead of looking at that metric plainly, what we like to do is look at the big picture of what's happening inside the ad accounts. So what we can do here is actually analyze all that data, compare our top performers to our underperformers, and look at specific facts like what is the video length, what is the hook rate, what is the cost per acquisition, the new customer cost per acquisition, things along those natures, and it can give us a refined answer and break down all of that chunk into small manageable pieces that we can start to understand, and then use that data, feed it back in, and then understand further what can we do going forwards to then perform better and increase the return on the accounts. Some of the insights that we'd found were that any ad longer than 30 to 40 seconds saw a massive drop off. We've been creating kind of 60-second ads. That is generally, you want to go between 30 and 60 seconds, but we did have some that were over the 60-second mark. And what we found is that shorter one every time. So going forwards, that's what we'll be doing. Secondly here, ads with a hook rate above 30% in the first 3 seconds correlated with significantly higher overall watch time. When you send out an ad, essentially, if somebody doesn't watch within the first 3 seconds, they're gone. Generally, when you're running ads, the hook rate is probably one of the most important things to focus on, because essentially after that 3 seconds, if people don't watch, they won't be watching the rest of your video. So yeah, in this situation, 30% was kind of the key metric, and that's what we'll be using to go forwards. That's the number we need to hit. If the ad underperforms, it's less than 30%, it's probably not going to be a good ad. Thirdly, our new customer acquisition cost was too high. So one of the great things I love about Claude and ChatGPT, when you prompt them correctly, is you can say what the goal is. So in this case, looking for cheaper customer acquisition, but efficiently. And then it can actually come up, as long as you give the context of the brand, it can give you loads of information and loads of suggestions, should I say, for the offers that it has. Time and time again, we find that maybe there's something that we didn't think about, an angle that we weren't looking at. And it just gives us another insight and then spur more ideas so that we can better serve the brands that we work with. Now, after we implemented those changes, we were able to see a reduction in customer acquisition cost, an increase in watch time for the videos and hook rates, and then in turn, an increase in the profits. And that is level 4 thinking. Not just thinking about making better ads, but how can I leverage and use the data that I have that can provide to AI to then summarize, inform me of my next steps and how I should approach everything. Now, level 4 is about using AI to think better. Now, level 5, that is building systems to think for you. The difference? Strategists are still making decisions. The architects, now these are the guys that are building systems that make decisions autonomously. A key insight here is that tools will make you faster. Strategy will make you unstoppable. But systems, well, systems are going to make you scalable. Level 5, the architect. At level 5, you are not using AI. You, my friend, are designing ecosystems. Your business has intelligent layers. Leads qualify themselves through an AI-powered quiz. High-intent leads get routed to your calendar automatically. Low-intent leads enter a nurture sequence. Voice agents handle support 24/7, and dashboards auto-update with insights, not just data. The thinking pattern here is, how do I build a system that improves itself? This is going to be the rarest level because you have to think in feedback loops, not just your workflows. So here's that comparable difference. When the level 3 says, when X happens, do Y. A level 5 says, when X happens, do Y, and then measure the result. But if that result is less than threshold Z, then let's adjust Y, and then let's test again. That is a self-optimizing system, and most people never get here because they need to know these 3 things. Number 1 is they need a deep understanding of your business logic, because if they don't understand it, then they can't automate it because they don't know how it works. Number 2 is the willingness to let go of control. Architects trust their systems implicitly to make their decision. Number 3 is going to be obsession with measurement, because you can't improve what you don't actually track. And here's what it looks like in practice. A level 3 entrepreneur is going to use AI to schedule their social posts. And a level 5 entrepreneur has a system that analyzes which content type performs best. It automatically adjusts the posting frequency based on the engagement. It tests new formats and doubles down on the winners, and generates weekly reports with strategic recommendations. And that is the unlock, because your time doesn't scale, but your systems can. And the key insight here is, don't build your system to work harder. Build your system to think for you while you sleep. Now here's the pattern I see in people that level up quickly. They focus on one level at one time. Don't try and jump from level 2 to level 5. Master each stage individually. They ask better questions. Level 2s generally ask what. Level 4s generally ask why, but level 5s ask what if. They also build in public. Share your workflows, get feedback, and then iterate. And then most importantly, they use AI to expand their thinking, not to replace it. Because here's the truth, AI doesn't make you smarter. It rewards people that think clearly. So what level would you say that you're at right now? Are you level 1, just curious? Are you level 2, a tool user? Are you level 3, an integrator? Are you level 4, a strategist? Or are you level 5, an architect? Here is the thing, there is no shame at being at level 1 or level 2. Everybody starts here. But if you are still there in 6 months and your competitor is at level 4, you are definitely going to feel it. If you want my level up framework, so that is the exact steps to go from where you are to where you would like to be, drop level up in the comments below. On the next episode, we're going to look at how to future-proof your skills with AI. We will talk about those human abilities that will never go out of style, no matter how advanced that tech gets. I'm Adam Prioletti from Serenium AI. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.